If you are in a relationship and you're wanting to know how to communicate better, get your needs met, and ultimately feel more fulfilled, this episode is for you. Even if you're single, there is so much to learn from this. I have a special guest, once again, my partner, and we are going to speak about how to improve your relationship or your dating life this year. Just a little note, we are not relationship experts. We have been in a relationship for almost 3 years now, and I am a psychologist with some background in relationship counseling, but this is a good sign to know that I still do the work. My partner also has valuable life experience, so I'm hoping he can bring something to the table today. All right, welcome to the show, my love. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for having me on again.
You're brave doing this episode with me.
I think I've done it a few times now. But
So we've actually prepared something a little bit fun. I've prepared questions to ask my partner. He doesn't really know what they are. He knows a bit of a gist, and he's prepared questions for me, which I have not prepared answers to. So we're going to answer these questions, and then we're going to go into what we believe makes a strong, healthy relationship. And we're going to talk about something we do called a relationship check-in. I shared this on my Instagram and people were very interested in what a relationship meeting was. So we're going to conclude with what that is about. All right. Question number 1. Are you ready for this?
I think so.
Okay. What do you think makes a really good or great relationship?
I think it's different, obviously, for a lot of people. But for me, I think trust is the most important thing in a relationship. I think if you don't trust the other person, or there's signs there that something might be going on, I think it's that's quite damaging moving forward. Mm-hmm. I think communication is extremely important. Being able to voice your own opinion and be able to go to your partner and tell them whatever you're really feeling in confidence that they're not going to have a go at you or judge you, and just be able to have a good conversation about things and not get upset with each other, and just be able to talk through things and work through things. I think that's so important.
I agree it's important, but I don't think it's that easy. I know definitely in the past I haven't felt safe to express what I truly want to say, or I'm scared of the response, or I'm scared I'm going to be told I'm emotional or invalidating. So I think you create a really safe space. I tell you everything. I think I tell you too much. I tell you every single detail that happens. What do you think men can do, or anyone in any sex relationship, to make other people feel safe to communicate openly and transparently?
I think not reacting immediately. I think a lot of people, when they hear something or they get told something, they react immediately and they just go on the defense and think really all about themselves and how it's affecting them, or they feel like they're being personally attacked. I think it's important, probably, if you do feel like that, or it's a bit of a surprise, whatever your partner said to you. I think it's important to maybe just acknowledge it firstly. Just tell your partner, yes, hey, I acknowledge what you're thinking, and I just probably need some time to process it and come back to you, rather than reacting.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, I think, depending on how big it is, or depending what it is, I probably think it is good to, I like to anyway, just digest it and really have a think about it before I react or before I say something. Because, sometimes you can say something to me that sort of triggers me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and then I'm straight away go on the defense, or all I think about is I'm being attacked here.
Yeah, but you shut down. You don't get angry. That's what I found really strange. I'm like, react.
And that's something I'm working on as well, because I do sometimes get upset and just go quiet, which I don't like. I think you need to talk things through, and I think that's the best thing possibly.
I think it's good not to. I think, yes, not reacting is definitely something everyone should work on. Get those emotion regulation skills, because if someone's yelled at, and as a child they were yelled at, or their dad yelled at them, it can definitely trigger that trauma response.
I think also as well, I think it's important to self-reflect on whatever's been brought up, as well as just think about the other person and how whatever she's bringing up, how that's affecting them rather than just yourself.
Yeah, putting yourself in their shoes. And this is extremely hard to do, and this is something I've learned to do over the years, is say, is there a kernel of truth as much as I maybe don't want to face it or don't want to admit it, is there a kernel of truth in what you are saying to me? And to take that kind of reflective approach says a lot about a person. It's not easy to do, but if your partner is bringing something up with you, consider maybe they have a point, and you'll become really good at reflecting and building your self-awareness. All right, very good. I like that topic. I think definitely, just to summarize that, a great and good relationship is different for everyone. So if you're listening to this episode and you're single or you're in a relationship, write down, what is a great relationship to you? How do you want to feel? What does it look like? Because I believe we can always elevate and enhance.
Agreed.
All right, do you want to ask me one of your questions? We should take turns.
Sure. What's one thing you identified that you needed to work on since we've been in a relationship?
Straight in. What have I needed to work on? I definitely think not reacting and attacking.
The Pisces.
The Pisces always think they're being attacked, but I think sometimes when you say things, I just want to react straight away. It's almost like I think I'm not going to have enough time to explain myself, or maybe if I'm louder or more, I don't know, expressive, the point will get across faster. But I let you speak, I take a deep breath, and sometimes I just step back and think, it's okay. You don't need to have a big reaction to this. Not every action needs a reaction. So that's something I've had to work on. And I noticed that in my mum. Like, my mum can be very reactive. I think it's just, coming from a Greek family. I'm not perfect. I still do it. But do you think I've worked on it?
Yeah, I think you've definitely worked on it. And I've also worked on myself in the sense of, well, if I've got something to say to you, how do I deliver that to you in the best way possible?
Yeah. Yeah, you put some cushioning around it now.
Oh, yeah, I suppose I just think about how I'd approach the discussion rather than just saying it.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be careful. I don't want to offend you or upset you as well. But if there's something I want to talk about, then you just got to think about, how do I approach this?
Yeah, and I've also worked on giving you your space. Like, I do know men need to go into their cave to reflect on things. So I notice if I have upset you, a lot of people just expect the partner, I said sorry, to go back to being normal straight away. And I think sometimes it can take, a couple of hours or whatever. So I've just tried to give you space when you are upset or I have upset you in some way. All right, next question. Do you think you need to work on yourself before you're in a relationship? So this is people who are single. Do you think single people should work on themselves before they even get into a relationship? Or do you think you can work on yourself whilst you're in a relationship? What comes first, the chicken or the egg?
I think you definitely need to work on yourself before you go into a relationship. I think it's more about being very clear on what you want and what your non-negotiables are and what you won't accept, in the sense of that, because one of my biggest things from my previous relationships is that I'm a big believer in that you can't change the other person. Unless they want to change, they'll never change. Yeah, or if they do change, they'll change for a month and then they'll revert straight back. So that's just my thoughts. I could be wrong, but unless the person identifies and is aware and wants to change, I don't think that they can change.
Unless they want to.
Or unless they really want to, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't see the need to change. So, for example, if you're dating someone, or a guy or girl, and they say, I don't want to be serious, and you think, I'll change them, I'll be the one to make them be with me, but you keep seeing them and dating them and sleeping with them, they don't really have to change because they're kind of getting everything they would get if they said yes to dating you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a relationship is always working on yourself and your relationship. Like, I think it's important that you don't get complacent and just think that, hey, my relationship's perfect. Like, there's always things to work on. There's always things to discuss. You always should be thinking of, one of the things for us is being thoughtful to each other. I know we both really value that. So it's always like, well, what can I do for this person this week, or what can I do for them that really shows that I care and I'm thinking of them, or I want to do something nice for them, you know? Like, you always should be working on doing something or bettering yourself, or thinking about how can I grow our relationship and make it better.
Was thoughtfulness one of your values before you met me?
No, I don't think
It was my
it
value.
was your value. Yeah, I know how much you love that. For me, I don't think thoughtfulness was one of the key drivers for me in a relationship.
Really?
No, for me, communication was communication and trust.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, we got off the topic. I want to answer this question too. Do you think you need to work on yourself before, or can you work on yourself in the relationship? I believe you can get to a certain point of working on yourself, but there are things that are going to come up when you're in a relationship that you didn't even realize. So when I got in my relationship with you, I'm like, I'm perfect. But all this stuff came up. And I even booked a session with one of my old therapists, and she said to me, the closer you get with someone in a relationship, the more it pushes stuff to the surface that you're not even aware of. And it was almost like I tested you at times, because I was like, oh, is this real? You know, why do I want to run away? What am I feeling? What am I thinking? And I felt like a teenager again. So I think you do need to be with someone for other stuff to come up, but you have to work on it together. That's the really important thing that you need to do.
And I think one more thing to add there is, obviously, if you've been in a previous relationship or something's happened to you in the past where you're aware that, you know, there might be some underlying trauma there, whether that be a relationship or something to do with yourself personally, I think it's important to really be aware of that and put in the work, whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship and wanting to get in a relationship, and just put in the work to work on that and fix it. Because, yeah, you don't want to go into a relationship if you've got trauma that you're going to get cheated on because you've been cheated on in a previous relationship, and then that just showcases through your whole relationship the new one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or just be honest about it. Just say, look, I've dealt with infidelity in my past relationship, or I've had trust issues. It's something I'm working on, but if it comes up, I really would like to speak about it openly with
Yeah, I agree.
you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important.
Okay, what's your next question for me?
Have you ever been in a relationship where you didn't get along with your partner's family? And if you did, how did you approach this if you knew this means a lot to your partner?
If I didn't get... Oh, okay. No, I've never had family members I didn't get along with. I actually never met my ex's family. We were together for 4 to 5 years, and I never met a single member of his family. And now when I listen to this and I know it, it blows my mind. But at the time, I didn't think much of it. I'm like, oh, you know, he's just not close to his family. And my needs of having a big, loving family were already met. So I kind of just ignored that box, but I would never do that again. I think it's so important to meet your partner's family and get to know what they're all about. And I think if you're not getting along with them, you know, it is something to explore. I think if I wasn't getting along, I'd want to understand why. Is it me? Is it them? If they've got, you know, issues that are unresolved, if my partner wasn't getting along with them either, and it just was a case of putting boundaries in place, I would do, I guess, what me and my partner agreed on. But no, I've never been in a situation where I haven't got along with them, but I've been in a situation where I've never met them. And then I think at the 3-year mark, I'm like, what is the issue? Like, I'm about to break up with you. What's the big secret? What's going on? He didn't really get along with his family, but yeah, he just said, oh, I'm just not close to them. And I actually think he was a bit ashamed, or maybe a bit embarrassed, but yeah, no, everyone else loves me. What about you?
Yeah, I've been in a previous relationship where my family had some concerns, and it was
about your partner.
About my partner, and it was challenging. It did create some issues, and more around, well, how do I approach the conversation? How do I not keep the peace, but how do I sort of make sure that everybody's happy, and when they're together there's no awkwardness? Or
was that a red flag for you, or were you just like, no, you stick by your partner even if she doesn't get along with your family?
I sort of went away and just reflected on it and just really thought about what they were telling me. And they did have some valid points. There was some times where, the way she communicated probably did come across a bit as rude. But I don't think it came from a place of where she actually meant it or she was doing it on purpose. I think she just came across like that, and I think it was probably just interpreted a little bit differently because they didn't really know her too well. But it definitely can cause problems, and it's a tough conversation to have.
Listen to your family; they're always right, most of the time.
Sometimes.
All right, and my last question for you is: how do you think couples should deal with conflict?
Yeah, I think couples should just have a open and honest discussion about what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and they should understand each other and come from a place of accepting what their partner's said and just working on that and not attacking and just I suppose.
And the right timing. I think having the wrong timing, like at the middle of the night, when you're drunk in the club, when you're both tired after work, I think if you're going to raise something with your partner or deal with conflict, it needs to be at the right time. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And that's where it's so important, like we do, some check-ins. I think some regular check-ins is good as well, organising a time.
Relationship meeting.
Once a month, whether it's once a month, once a fortnight, where you just check in with each other and just sit down for 10-15 minutes and just be honest. Is there anything I'm doing that's upsetting you, or is there something that we need to talk about? Are you okay? How do you feel about our relationship? Like, it's important.
Yeah, I love the idea of keeping kind of a note on your phone, a relationship note, and just jotting down things that either your partner did that were good or things that annoyed you, and kind of bring it up in a batch. I feel that would be very effective. I think this morning, or was that yesterday morning? I think it was, when did you go for that long walk? Yesterday or today?
No, yesterday morning.
Yeah, so yesterday morning he got up really early. So the one thing is my partner gets up very early and I'm trying to get there. And I just assumed you'd gone for a walk. I assumed maybe you went to the gym. I didn't know where you were. And you were gone for ages. And I texted you and I said, where are you? And you didn't reply because I know you're not on your phone when you're with people. But when you got home, I felt frustrated and I felt annoyed and I kind of just wanted to get reactive and say, oh, where have you been? Been gone for ages. Why didn't you call me? But I didn't. I just said, hey, hon, glad you're back. Next time you go out, do you think you could just tell me where you're going just so I'm aware? I know how long you're going to be, etc. Do you think I handled that well?
Yeah, I think you did. It's not a common thing to do, but yeah, obviously when I'm with people, I try to stay off my phone and be as present as possible.
Yeah, and you just went for a really long walk with your friend. Yeah, so I think even if you notice you're dysregulated, have a shower, take a couple of deep breaths, and just say, how can I communicate what's on my mind in a calm, relaxed way? And if you get activated or if you get frustrated, have a break ritual. Have you heard of a break ritual before?
No.
So it's when people take a break. You both agree to pause. Like, okay, let's shelf this for now. Let's take a break. Let's go for a walk separately, or let's self-soothe, and we'll come back to it later when we're a bit more calmer.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be effective.
Okay, great. All right, let's talk about the relationship meeting a little bit more, because a lot of people wanted to know about the relationship meeting. So this is something we sort of started at the start of our relationship. Every month we'd sort of reflect on, okay, what are we proud of this month? What do we want to work on? It was more kind of individual goals, but I feel we've got a more strategic with it. Were you thinking I was crazy when I wanted to do relationship meetings or check-ins or goals?
No, not crazy. I think it's something I've never really done in the past, so it's new to me.
Yeah, you didn't even have a calendar when I met you.
No, that's right. But
now you're sending calendar invites.
Yeah, I think it's healthy. I think it's good. It's promotes good communication, and it promotes a healthy relationship, being able to trust each other, to be able to be open about how we're feeling and working on, being solution orientated rather than just dwelling on, being upset about something, or also planning ahead and thinking about the other person and how you can, improve the relationship.
You even printed out an agenda. Like, that very much impressed me. You printed out the time, you booked a date, you booked in Mexican, and you even put down 3 points with 3 sub points. What inspired you to go to this much effort for our meeting?
Firstly, if I didn't put it down, I would have forgot by the time we got to dinner what I wanted to talk about. Yeah. But yeah, I think this year's going to be a big year for us both, and I just really want to, I don't know, I just thought it'd be good to, just get things out in the open and just really think about things and have a plan rather than just winging it.
Yeah, and I find that very attractive. One thing I think I've said to you, there are certain things in the relationship I don't want to control and I don't want to manage. For example, when we move house, I don't want to deal with all that stuff. Like, I know that it's part of it and there are necessary steps you got to make. You got to organize a bond clean. You got to organize, movers. You got to organize this and that. I don't want to do that in the relationship. I'm happy to do other things, but I think I've made it clear that when it comes to those kind of big tasks and projects, I can help, but I don't want to be the leader.
It's okay. If that's how you feel, then I'm happy to take the lead on that. That's fine. As long as you're cleaning and packing, that's fine.
Oh, okay. I'll pack. Look, we all have different strengths. The thing is, a lot of people will probably be listening to this, right? A lot of people who are married, a lot of people who are in relationships, and they're like, yeah, but not every guy's like that. Not every man, wants to listen to how I feel, or not every guy. If I brought up the idea of a relationship meeting, they'll laugh at you and be like, what is this ridiculousness? How do you think people can communicate to their partner that this is something they want to do and implement that when their partner's, I guess, maybe not open to it or thinks it's ridiculous, or who has time to set a meeting?
Well, I think it doesn't have to be a set meeting. I think you can structure it in a way that's fun for both people. Yeah. Whether that be you'd go do something, whether that be movies, and you talk for 15, 20 minutes before the movie starts. It doesn't have to be so formal with notes and a meeting agenda like we did, but
secret meeting.
Or even just a drive, like a nice coast drive, and just sit there and talk in the car or something like that. Like, it doesn't have to be a meeting, but I think it's more about being open and
having topics,
having communication and talking about what you both want and what your plans are and where the relationship's at.
Yeah, okay. So here are some tips. If you're wanting to do a relationship meeting, get a pen and write these down. These are some tips we recommend to get started. So just for reference, a relationship meeting or check-in, it's a structured time for couples to address the health of their relationship. And when it's done right, this practice allows you to address underlying issues, capitalize on what's working for you, things you're happy about. How have I made you feel loved this month? Or what can I do next month to make you feel more special? And plan your future together. Remember, people are not mind readers. So unless you speak about this with them, they're not going to know how you feel. Now, I would say once a month is a good start, but you can do them weekly, you can do them bi-monthly, whatever works for you. But it's good to put it in your calendar so it's in there, and set a reminder. And like you said, Han, tie it to something fun. Tie it to something that you're already doing.
We tied it, obviously, to eating
nachos, because that's all we do. That's all we do together. Okay, now what sort of things can we do in a relationship meeting? You said list the things that we want to discuss. So any upcoming plans or any upcoming changes or challenges, like moving. We had an upcoming trip in Bali that's coming up that we spoke about. Do you reckon there's anything else we should talk about?
Obviously goals. I think depending on the regularity of how often you're doing it, if there's any events coming up that might throw the other person out or the other person should be aware of.
How you can support each other and celebrating each other.
Yeah, celebrating wins in the relationship, personal wins.
That's how it should always start. Always start with the good stuff. We can always just go into what we find annoying or what upset us, but appreciation is the secret sauce of a great relationship. Now, if you do want to bring something up that's been bothering you, I wanted to chuck this in there because it is so valuable and it's really helped me in my relationship. And it is when something is wrong, rather than attack the person, like, you never tell me where you're going, you're always late, why don't you ever put the dishes away, is describe the situation. So this was like yesterday. Hey, hun, when you leave the house and I don't know where you are, that makes me feel XYZ. So describe what's going on, describe how you feel, and then move towards what is your ideal goal. And I said, when you leave, I just want a text telling me where you are, telling me where you're going, just so I know. So focus on describing the situation, outlining how you're feeling, and then outline the dream and what you want to talk about. So that was just a little tippet there. What do you think, Han, are the benefits of having a relationship check-in? Has it helped you in any way or our relationship?
Yeah, I think it's healthy. I think it's very healthy. It's gives me an understanding of where you're heading and what you want out of your life, and obviously where you see our relationship going, which is really good.
Yeah.
Helps me understand you and makes me also think about how can I support you in what you're wanting to achieve. So yeah, I think there's a lot of positives out of having a relationship check-in, and I encourage people to do it more often. And like I said, it doesn't have to be so formal. It doesn't have to be, no duration of time, or there has to be a set time of 30 minutes or 40 minutes. It can just be a 5-10 minute check-in to start with,
Yeah, and don't say we need to talk.
No.
The
You
dreaded
don't want to make it.
words.
I think it's important to make it fun. Well, not just fun. I think it's important not to make it so formal and make it as if you're attacking the other person. I think it's just more of a conversation where both parties can agree to be honest with each other.
Yeah, ask questions.
Without being judged and without the other people reacting. And just, have honest conversations.
Yeah, and did you know that they've found that people who do this practice actually have more safety, they feel more secure in their relationship, they both feel reassured that things don't get swept under the rug, you feel that your needs are getting met. It can actually lead to less arguments, more presence, more quality time, and by presence I mean being present, not gifts, and also more relationship satisfaction. So if you're thinking about doing this, I highly recommend that you give it a go. If you want some relationship questions, I've got some, and I can also pop them in the show notes, but I'm just going to go through 10 questions that you can ask your partner or ask each other if you're going to have a relationship check-in. So let's go through the questions. Maybe we can take in turns to read these out. Okay. What's really working in our relationship right now?
What are we celebrating?
Is there anything from last week or last month that feels unresolved?
Do we feel close and connected to each other?
Do we feel supported? Is there anything we can do to better support each other?
Is there anything we've been avoiding?
Ooh, that's a good one. Is there anything we'd like to be acknowledged or appreciated for?
Are we fulfilling our responsibilities and commitments in our relationship?
How do we feel about our sexual connection?
How do we feel personally? Do we feel like we're living aligned as the people we want to be?
Are we feeling good about ourselves as a parenting team?
Are we on track with our big picture goals and relationship vision?
Is there anything else we want to share? These are really good.
Great
We
questions.
should use these as a template next time.
Yeah, we should.
All right. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. We love to hear your feedback. I'd love to know if you enjoy having my partner on the show, or if you don't, let me know. Don't worry, I won't get upset. I absolutely love mixing it up a little bit. I'm really planning to amp up this podcast this year. I'm going to have more guests, more excitement. I've just hired a podcast editor, so I'm so happy about that. And your feedback means the world to me because it helps me bring up what you want to hear and what you want to talk about. Any parting words before we summarize and wrap it up?
No, I think that was a really good podcast, and I think we covered a lot of stuff, and hopefully people found value in that. And I wish everybody the best with their relationships.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Yes, thank you so much. And just a reminder that if you are single and you are looking for someone, don't give up. There are good people out there. It's about knowing what you want and putting that energy out there. And if you are in a relationship, try this check-in. I would love to hear feedback on how you go. And if you loved it, leave a rating, leave a review, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.